Welcome back, everybody. Part 3 of the Gamefira podcast, episode 006.
Welcome back.
006. We're almost to the James Bond episode.
We're gonna do that now. You gave me an idea.
I only watch the Daniel Craig movies.
Hey, we're gonna talk about GoldenEye. No, we're not. Okay, so for the third and final topic of this podcast, we are going to talk about the Retron 5.
That has nothing to do with messenger RNA. I tried to look that up on Wikipedia, and that's all I got.
Nice. The Retron 5, if you don't know, is a console developed by Hyperkin. It is basically it's a console for retro gamers like myself, and there are several different competitors to this system. Yobo is another big manufacturer of these types of systems, and basically they're multi cart systems that play. You know, some of them have 2 slots and they play Nintendo and Super Nintendo. Some of them have 3 slots and play Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Sega Genesis. So on and so forth. The Retron 5, which is slated to come out, I believe, in December, is going to be a 5-slot system, and it's quite a marvel, actually. I mean, I am really looking forward to this system. If you own one of the other systems that are a competitor with this system, you know that most of them are pretty cheaply made. Most of them are, you can pick them up and, they're super light. They're, just kind of flimsy plastic. Usually you're lucky if they last about a year before they start breaking down and not working correctly. I believe mine, I've had about 2 years now. It was actually acting up, and I had to take the whole thing apart and clean it, and I finally got it working again, much to my surprise. But most of these systems are very cheaply made, and they don't stand up very well. The Retron 5 and Hyperkin look to kind of change that. So some of the features of this new system, like I said, it's got 5 different slots. It's actually going to be compatible with regular Nintendo Entertainment System games, Super Nintendo games, which that slot is also compatible with Super Famicom, which are the Japanese and European versions of Super Nintendo games. Sega Genesis / Mega Drive, which would be its European and Japanese counterpart. And regular Famicom, which is the Famicom is the Nintendo, the regular Nintendo counterpart in Japan. And the reason it has its own slot is because it's a completely differently shaped cartridge in Japan as opposed to the United States. And then the 5th slot is actually a slot for handheld games, which accepts the Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance.
So for all of your retro handheld systems from Nintendo before the DS.
Yes. Which is really cool. I mean, so you've got all of those right off the bat. You can take your old collection of games and play all those systems on one system without having to unhook anything, blah, blah, blah. Recently announced, they're also kind of adding some space to the design to allow for the power-based converter, which was actually a peripheral for the Sega Genesis or Sega Mega Drive if you were in Europe or Japan. And basically what it did was allowed you to play Sega Master System games, which is the 8-bit Sega console, on your Sega Genesis. So you can use that same converter to play Sega Master System games on this system. So effectively adding a 6th system to the lineup, which is awesome for me because I have a huge Sega Master System collector. This is in the retro community, everybody is kind of looking forward to the release of this system. It was actually slated for October 31st, and that release date got pushed back. It looks amazing. Just to be honest, Justin and Austin hadn't really seen a whole lot on it, and I kind of told them to go look it up. So, just off the top of your heads, what do you guys think about it? What you've seen so far?
I'm pretty excited about. I guess from what you had mentioned, it's supposed to touch up the visuals, or at least it gives you the option to play games with a heightened resolution.
Yes, it does. That's one of the many features that the Retron 5 is offering. It actually has digital video and audio enhancement capabilities that you can toggle off and on. So for people that are purists and want to see it exactly how you would have seen it on the original system, you can do that. Or if you want to see it a little bit smoother, without the scan lines and less pixelated.
The difference is pretty noticeable.
It is. It's very noticeable.
We were watching gameplay for Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!
Yeah, and
looked very smooth.
And I'll be putting some of the video on this podcast so you guys can see some of that for yourself. And most of the videos that they've put up have been with the enhancements on video and audio. So check that out. It's really, like I said, a really well designed system from what we've seen so far. Like I said, haven't got my hands on one yet, but from what I've seen so far, I mean, it's got a graphic user interface that supports save states. It's actually got manual and passive overclocking, so you can slow down or speed up gameplay in the middle of the game.
Built-in cheats.
Built-in cheat system. I mean, these guys thought of everything.
And wireless controllers on top of it.
Wireless controllers, Bluetooth, come with the system. I think it's up to 4 at a time can Bluetooth to the system. And then it also has the option to hook up regular Nintendo, Super Nintendo, or Sega Genesis controllers with built-in ports on the side of the unit also, in case you want to use your controllers that you have instead of the controllers that come with the system.
What do you think, Austin? Any older games that you think you might want to play on the Retron 5?
A lot on the GBA and stuff like that. I might brush up on my old Pokemon. And,
sounds good.
Yeah.
Get some Ninja Turtles and stuff like that going. Bring back my childhood that wasn't too long ago.
Yeah. See, for me, I've got a whole stack of GBA games and stuff that I don't play that often because I don't, it's kind of a pain.
For me, the Game Boy Color version of Pokemon trading card game back from I think it was 1999 or 2000. I wouldn't mind giving that another go.
Yeah, and with this system, I mean, it's just bam, it's right there. I mean, you already have it hooked up. Some of the other major things, as opposed to all the other systems that are out there, this actually supports HD video out, HD video out. So works perfectly with modern TVs. I think they've tweaked the aspect ratios to fit a little bit better in a 16:9 setup as opposed to the kind of I don't remember what the aspect ratio was on the tube type TVs that like the Nintendo and stuff were built for. But
sure.
Anyway, it gives a little bit bigger perspective on the games. I mean, there's so many features that they've packed into this thing. They've actually got 2 macro buttons built into the controller, so you can program your own macros.
Nice.
For each game and set those up. Custom controller configurations that you can save in your system and switch between on the fly. It's pretty legit. I mean, it's and a pretty awesome price point. I believe it's $99.
That's not bad at all.
No.
I mean, not bad for being able to play
any of your old retro games.
Yeah, I mean, almost my whole collection is based on those old cartridge games. And so, I mean, I can just plug this thing up and, I mean, it makes it super simple for recording gameplay because I've got an HD out. I've got an HD out. It's also got AV. It's got USB. I don't know what all functionality is going to support with the USB.
That'll be interesting to see.
It'll be interesting to see, especially how you can use that with the system, possibly for ROMs. We'll see. We'll see what hackers can pull out of that USB port.
They'll figure something out.
I think they will. It'll be interesting. Another thing I was kind of thinking about with the controller being Bluetooth, I'm wondering about being able to use it with a Mac computer. Also,
yeah, sure,
be able to Bluetooth it to the Mac and use it as a controller for games on the internet or whatever, ROM hacks or ROMs and whatever else. I mean, that's another cool feature. I mean, if you're buying the system, you get the controller and then
do whatever you want with it.
Be able to use it elsewhere. That'd be really cool. I don't know yet. We'll see. I'm pretty excited about it, though. I mean, it's like I said, it's going to be pretty cool. Hopefully, it lives up to expectations. I know the entire gaming, retro gaming community, which I'm a big supporter of, are pretty excited about it. Pretty much everybody that I know that's in the retro gaming community is planning on picking one up.
It does make it a bit easier for someone who may want to get into it. Also, they don't have to track down several retro consoles to be able to play their older games.
And even for people like myself, where I have usually several of each system, hooking and unhooking all of it up and doing maintenance on the systems and making sure all everything's clean and it's working correctly. I mean, because let's face facts. I mean, 30-year-old electronics, they wear out. You've got pins get stretched and wiring goes bad and connections get loose and it just you have to do a lot of maintenance. And using systems like these, because I personally have a competitor system to this system that I use to capture gameplay and stuff. And it's pretty convenient. And it's only a 2-slot, system, as opposed to 5 slots. And being able to play all of those different systems on one, it's just amazing with HD output. I mean, it's like hopefully Hyperkin does it right. I'm hoping there's not a ton of bugs in the system, but I mean, they put out the Superboy or Supa-Boy a couple years ago, which is a handheld Super Nintendo system. If you haven't seen it, which I've seen some brilliant reviews on. So if they uphold the same high standards with this system, I think it's going to be amazing. What do you think the likelihood of you guys picking up some retro gaming with this system are?
It sounds like a pretty good opportunity. Don't think I'll pick it up. However, if I did have the extra cash to throw at it, absolutely. I mean, there certainly are games that
you're going to come play on mine though. So
there really are some games that I would go through the trouble of picking up if I had one. Though I would like to get the Donkey Kong Country series for the Super NES. Again, the Pokemon trading card game. Then there are some Super NES games that haven't been released on the Virtual Console that I would really like to play. Kirby's Dream Course, Tetris Attack.
Those are great games.
There's
a ton of games that people have been begging for to get released on the Virtual Console that just haven't.
Maximum Carnage.
That's a great game. It's a great game. Another, like I mentioned before, another big feature that I'm excited about is the Famicom slot.
Mm-hmm.
If you know anything about the retro gaming era, things were a lot different back then, and there were a lot more games released in Japan for the Famicom than got released in the US for the Nintendo Entertainment System. And a lot of those that did make the jump were severely edited. So there are a ton of games that a lot of us retro gamers would have loved to play that never made it to the United States. So before this system, I guess really you're only there's a couple options. You can pay quite a bit of money to pick up a Famicom converter, which will work with your regular NES kind of, depending on the model. And you can kind of, it goes between the Famicom, the Famicom cartridge and the Nintendo, and makes it work. And some of those are kind of iffy. They don't work with certain games, and it's kind of a crapshoot. And if you ever played with a Game Genie, it's kind of the same thing. They're it's just a pain in the butt. And like I said, they're a little bit pricey. The other option is to buy an actual Famicom system, import that from Japan, and then get a power converter that will change your power to the correct voltage, because we have a different voltage here than they do in Japan from our wall outlets. So there again, I mean, it's kind of a pain to do that. It's not impossible. It just costs some money and a little bit of time. But like I said, just the convenience of being able to do it all in one system
Absolutely.
is amazing to me. It's going to be it's definitely a must buy for me. If you haven't, I'll put a link in the description so you can go check out Hyperkin's website and kind of the write-ups on the system. I'll also put up some links to the videos of the gameplay, and those will be playing in the background of this video. I mean, it's a definite buy for me. What do you guys... I mean, you guys aren't really huge retro gamers. So.
No, but I mean, there are some that certainly do hold a soft spot in my heart. So, yeah, like I said, I may get in a kick one day to really, there are a handful of Super Nintendo games I'd like to get, some Genesis games, and to save me the trouble of having to track down a Genesis and a Super Nintendo, I might just go that route.
Exactly. I mean, for $99, I mean, it's...
Yeah, I mean, granted, you don't have to throw a lot of money to get a Super Nintendo or a Genesis, but in the end, if you're trying to get a handful of games across, a few retro consoles, you're going to throw about the same amount of money, and considering they're older consoles, you really don't know what you're going to get as far as quality and the condition of them at this point in time. So,
okay, anything else before we wrap this up, guys?
Austin, are you still there?
Yeah.
Are you power
I think
leveling?
Austin fell asleep.
Are you power leveling your Arcanine?
Sorry, what?
Your Arcanine, are you power leveling?
I'm just raising an army charge, man.
Everyone does that, though.
Army of
I don't
Charizard.
think I'm gonna get it for a while. If I do get it, it's gonna be a spur of the moment thing.
Yeah, I think, like I said, it is mostly going to be, it's not a mainstream system. It's not, an Xbox One or a PS4. It's not something that everybody's going to buy, but I think it's going to be a huge seller in the retro community.
Certainly a novelty item.
Which is a big and a growing section of the gaming community. Over the past several years, the retro community has grown by leaps and bounds. And I think the need for nostalgia and for communities that get together and talk about games they used to play, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
And if you don't believe us, every time someone mentions a modern console on a news channel, if they make reference to Pong or Pac-Man, that pretty much is proves it right for us.
Yeah, exactly.
So
definitely check that out. And when I get this thing, we're going to be recording some videos, so watch for those to come up. I'll be doing some gameplay, maybe challenge Austin with some games that he's never played because he didn't grow up with these games like we did.
Yeah, I probably still be.
We'll see about that. So anyway, wrapping it up, this is the end of part 3 of episode 6 of the Gamefira podcast. Let us know what you think about the Retron 5. Do you think it's cool? Do you think it's stupid? Do you think you don't care about retro? Let me know. Are you going to pick it up? I'd like to hear you guys' opinions. As always, leave us a comment. Also, let us know what you think about the new format of the podcast. Do you like it split up? Do you not like it split up?
My idea.
It was not his idea. He doesn't have any ideas. He just kind of shows. He just kind of shows up and talks sometimes. It's whatever.
Most of the time, I just sit here and listen to that beautiful voice.
It's mesmerizing.
I'm not here like just talking to Chris on the phone. I've got his headphones in.
Anyway, moving along. We're gonna wrap it up, and be sure you guys share, comment, like, find us on Facebook. Go check out the website gamefira.com for the latest news and stories from around the internet. And as always, we love you guys. So keep coming back and listening, and let us know what we can do to make it better.
Have a happy Thanksgiving, and if you get a Thanksgiving break, play some fun video games. Have a good time.
Gobble
And
gobble.
don't forget, Christmas is coming up. DM me. That's what I want.
DM Austin for.
You can all be my secret Santa. It doesn't matter who you are.
Don't listen to him. All right, guys, wrapping it up. We'll see you guys later. Gamefira out.
Take care.